All right, thank you all for joining today. We have some great OUHSC nutritional sciences students, Molly, Marissa, and Catherine joining us today to talk about dietary supplements and trying to navigate through those. So thank you guys. If you are recording this in your LiveWell OU employee wellness portal, you can log this under intellectual wellness as a workshop. I know we're coming down to the end of the first quarter. If you have fulfilled your first quarter points goal, you're more than welcome to wait and log this at the start of quarter 2 in April. So thank you guys, and ladies, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, guys, we're going to get started. Today, like Lindsay said, today we'll be talking about dietary supplements. And I'm Catherine.
I'm Molly.
I'm Marissa.
All right. And to start, we have a quiz for you guys to take. We'll give you a couple of minutes to take the quiz. It's just a QR code, so get your phone out and take the little quiz. And then just drop it in the chat when you're ready.
Yeah, good thumbs up.
So we're getting a couple of chats. Everybody seems to be ready. So how'd we do? I see a 7 out of 10. Oh, great. 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Awesome.
Nice.
All right. Well, that quiz was really just to kind of gauge what you guys knew beforehand. And then we're going to move along. Okay. So just kind of an overview of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go through our objectives, and then we're going to go through a little case study about supplements. We're going to introduce dietary supplements, and then we're going to do an overview about current use and then safety in purchasing a dietary supplement. And then our objectives for today, get my chat out of the screen, is to introduce, classify, and categorize dietary supplements. And then our second objective is we're going to identify who's taking dietary supplements, why they're taking them, and how they're being marketed to you. And then we're going to describe how to purchase a dietary supplement.
Thank you. Hi, so I'm Marissa, and I'm going to kick it off here with a little bit of a case study for you. So this says, just because a supplement comes from natural sources doesn't make it safe. So this was in response to something that happened with Ephedra in the late 90s and early 2000s with dietary supplements that we're going to kind of cover right now. So ephedra is an amphetamine-like compound that was derived from an ancient Chinese herb and has been used for centuries, mostly to combat respiratory problems. And then in the 1950s, the United States synthesized kind of a synthetic version of ephedra and then made it into an over-the-counter cold remedy. So this was sold in pharmacies and regulated by the FDA as a drug. Then 40 years later, in the 90s, ephedra was synthesized into a different compound and marketed as a dietary supplement. And that is where the problem started. So when the ephedra hit the market as a dietary supplement, it was originally put out there for weight loss. And then they also boasted about energy boosting properties, as well as sports performance enhancements and all kinds of good things, right? So it seems like a really good thing to put out. Pretty quickly, so there were some serious safety risks that were associated with ephedra use. So that included cardiac arrhythmia, myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, stroke, elevated blood pressure, addiction with prolonged use, and even death. So between 1994 and 1999, NBC actually reported 155 deaths linked to ephedra use. So this snowballed in 2003 when there was a really notable death of a Baltimore Orioles pitcher who was only 23 years old. He was known to use ephedra for its sports performance enhancing results, but unfortunately he passed away after a training session. Again, he was only 23 years old. So after this death kind of gained some momentum, the FDA did ban ephedra as a dietary supplement in 2004. However, it's still very easy to purchase and can be found in forms online, and as well as put in the same dietary supplements that were taken off the market. So this is a pretty sober way of introducing dietary supplements, but as nutrition professionals and aspiring nutrition professionals, we feel that it's really important to educate the public about the real dangers that exist with dietary supplements. So I'll reference this case study as we go through, and then if you guys have any questions throughout this, you can just pop them in the chat and I will try to keep up with that. And then there will be 3 sections of our presentation, as Catherine said. So between each session, which will be about every 10 minutes, we'll take a break, we'll check out the questions, and we'll want to hear from you guys that way. So moving right along. There we go. So what is a dietary supplement? So as defined by the Dietary Supplement Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, that's what DSHEA stands for. So they define a dietary supplement as a product taken by mouth that contains a dietary ingredient intended to supplement the diet. They also say it can be used by man to supplement the diet by increasing total dietary intake. So those are about the most generic definitions that I think I've ever seen. And they're essentially supposed to be all encompassing of a lot of different compounds and ingredients, which we'll get into in a moment. But the key thing to note here is that when this was implemented by the FDA in 1994, the purpose was to classify supplements as foods and not drugs, which changes how they're regulated. So when we talk about a supplement versus an ingredient, there's an existing list of pre-approved ingredients that can compose supplements. And so these are, again, already pre-approved. This is a non-exhaustive list of some things that you might see on a supplement label. And again, these are all pretty general. So we'll get into more about labels later on, but just to clarify supplement versus ingredient there. And then another thing to think about too is that supplements come in many forms. So often I always think of my Walmart or my grocery store. Whole Foods has a ton of pill bottles, right? Just aisles and aisles of pill bottles, but they come in a lot of forms, and even things like liquids and powders, right? So Gatorade, protein powders, those things all count toward, they're part of this umbrella term of dietary supplement that's regulated as foods. And so this is just a Google search that I did. I hope you guys can see this okay. But this is a screenshot from a Google search I did. All I did was type in dietary supplements, and this is what comes up. So again, just to emphasize the point, you think pills, and you also think like, look at all these fresh vegetables that we see and all these colors, and you see the word herbal, right? So dietary supplements are made to think, they want you to think that this is something that's really outright good for you. And that's not necessarily the case. So this is the same search, but I just scrolled down a bit, and these were the ads that popped up as well. So I don't know if any of you see maybe some brands that you have in your own house. But again, we see like there's colorful pills with some broccoli, right? So again, they really want to get the message across that dietary supplements are safe and healthy. So let's talk a little bit about why they might not be. So with the FDA regulation, so going back to the Ephedra case, right? Remember when I said that in the 1950s, they regulated it as a drug for cough medicine. That drug underwent a 4-phase longitudinal process with extensive testing done before it ever hit the market. So these were clinical trials. They targeted, their target group with people that were suffering from respiratory illnesses. And then they did longitudinal studies afterwards to follow up and make sure that this was a safe drug to have on the market. Then we have the dietary supplement version, which is very different. Because it's classified as food and not drugs, there's no FDA approval required before it hit the market. So the FDA designates that the manufacturer of dietary supplements is responsible for ensuring safety before that product hits the market. So this obviously leads to some problems like we saw with the Ephedra case, where it makes you wonder, are these companies doing the right tests? Are they doing enough tests? Are there any conflicts of interest? And all of these come into question, as we'll see. So what does this mean for you, the consumer? There are 3 major problems here. So 1 is that dietary supplements are not pure. 2 is that there are no standard serving sizes or proportions for the ingredients that go in them. And 3 is that there's a huge lack of routine inspection and FDA oversight. So to talk about problem number 1, I'm going to move this down. Hopefully you guys can see this whole slide. So to talk about problem number 1, a lot of supplements have additives in them. And additives are not supposed to evoke an effect, right? The active ingredient is what's supposed to evoke an effect. But these can be gelatin, starches, preservatives, flavors, right? All those pills we saw, all the colors and things like that. So think about all the different things that might go in there that have been supposedly approved by the FDA, and they just go in there to increase the aesthetic or the appeal of the product. The problem is when these are used in combination with other herbs or medications, they might create a drug-nutrient interaction, and that can cause problems. So for example, with Ephedra, a lot of those adverse effects that had to do with the cardiovascular system were actually believed to be due to caffeine that was added to the supplement. So the combination of Ephedra plus caffeine plus whatever else was going on for the individual taking that supplement could have led to those problems and the deaths as well. So the second problem is that there's no standard serving sizes and there's no limit to the amount of each nutrient or compound that's added to every individual serving. And so this decision, again, falls on the manufacturer. And so we are relying on their integrity rather than an industry standard to ensure their safety here. So I'm going to give you an example about what this might look like here. But a really popular supplement right now is magnesium. And kind of the buzz with it is supposedly it's better it helps you sleep. So I did a little Google search again. This is just a screenshot from my own search. And the first one that popped up was a Nature's Bounty pill bottle, which I thought, okay, I've seen Nature's Bounty, it's in my grocery store. And I clicked on the Walgreens link because I trust Walgreens. And so in reading about this supplement, I'm seeing 500 milligrams. I'm seeing sports bone and muscle health. There's 200 coated tablets. Okay, it's $15. As a consumer, I'm looking at this as a good cost-effective purchase. You know, this seems like 500 milligrams sounds like a lot, but I have no context for what 500 milligrams actually means. So as a nutrition student, I'm going to go to our natural medicines database. I'm going to look up magnesium, and I'm going to look up something called the tolerable upper intake level. I didn't know what that was before I started this program, but essentially what it is it's the highest amount of a compound or substance that you can take every day over the course of your life before any adverse effects hit, right? So this is essentially the safety limit. So I looked that up, and for magnesium, it's 350 milligrams per day. So do we see a problem here? Now this kind of worked out perfectly because this truly was the first thing that popped up when I Googled magnesium supplements, and it's in the grocery store. So there's no reason that I wouldn't be able to go pick this up off the shelf and tell myself, I'm going to sleep better with this. And then all of a sudden I'm having major gastrointestinal problems because overconsumption of magnesium leads to chronic cramping, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, a lot of ugly stuff. But this is just one example of how easy it is to pick the wrong thing up off the shelf just because we see it online or we see an ad for it or we hear about it from a friend. So finally, the third problem is the lack of routine inspection from the FDA. So in 2007, following the wake of Ephedra in 2004 and some other issues, the FDA established something called current good manufacturing practices. So the point of these was to kind of reinstate the safety and distribution practices that the FDA expects from all of these manufacturers. But this is the quote that they added on their website, which I'll read to you. In that the FDA has limited resources to analyze the composition of dietary supplements, it focuses these resources first on public health emergencies and products that may have caused injury or illness. So essentially what they're saying here is there's no proactive safety measures being taken. Everything that the FDA is doing, they're doing retrospectively after problems have been reported, and then how many problems have been reported. And then even so, where are these problematic supplements coming from? In the last 20 years with online sales, that has been revolutionized. So now the FDA not only doesn't have addresses or warehouses to check out, these are coming from all over the world. So essentially, they're throwing their hands up here and saying, we don't have the resources to make sure that everything that's on the market is safe. So again, they put it on the manufacturing company, but my point is to tell you, it's really truly on you to make sure that what you're doing is safe, which we will talk about a good way to make sure that everything's good later on. So key takeaways from this point of the presentation: dietary supplements come in many forms and are taken orally. They are classified as foods, not drugs, which is why they're not subject to an FDA approval process. And then there are no standards for what goes in them, how much of it, or if it's safe. So the key thing is that natural does not mean safe. So I do see a chat in this box. I'm going to just open that. What is a website you said to look at for daily intake? So it's actually called the Natural Medicines Database. And as OU students, we have access to it, but we are actually going to go through some more websites and resources for you later on in the presentation. So I will wait on that part and let Molly cover that, I believe. Are there any other questions about this section that you guys can think of right now? I'll actually just put in the chat, Natural Medicines Database, just so you have that. Okay, perfect. Okay, and with that, we're going to move along. There you go.
Okay, guys, I'm going to talk to you guys about just an overview of dietary supplements, who's taking them, kind of what's out there, and how they're being marketed to you. So this is a list of the top 20 most Googled supplements in the US. As you can see, there's a lot of them and it's confusing. And as Marissa said, magnesium, like one of the ones that is really popular right now. So what she knows from this list is a lot of popular supplements, but really we need to look at who should be taking these. So let's kind of go through who is taking some supplements. According to the CDC, we have over 50% of adults using supplements. This is majority women, 64%, and some men, 51%. Children are using supplements. We have 34% of children who are going to be using supplements. And then it increases as we get older. Obviously, we're trying to optimize our health as we get older. So we've got 80% of older women that are reporting that they're using supplements, and then 67% of older men reporting that we're using supplements. So why are people using these supplements? Well, according to a survey of adults over 20, 45% say they're doing it to optimize their health. And then another 33 say they want to just maintain their overall health. Women tend to focus more on bone health. Men tend to be kind of targeted for heart health and cholesterol. Some people report they just want to supplement their diet a little bit. And then only 23% got recommended by a healthcare provider. And I think that really is a testament to how good supplement marketing has been. Most of us are going out and seeking this out on our own just by what we have seen online. So we're going to talk a little bit about when you really do need to check with your doctor before you're going to take a supplement. First, if you're pregnant or nursing, this is really just to make sure whatever you're taking isn't going to be passed on to baby through breast milk, through the pregnancy, just kind of safety, just keeping the safety of you and your baby in mind. Some other ones are children. They generally don't recommend children have a multivitamin unless there's suspicion that their diet isn't adequate. And children with other supplements tend to metabolize them different, so they could really have some adverse effects if you're not being careful about what you're giving children. The other big one is liver disease. Dietary supplements have been linked to 20% of acute liver damage cases in the US. Most of these have to do with sports supplements, and green tea extract is actually one that's been really linked to problems with liver damage. And the thing is, we really don't know why. That they can't really identify a root cause. With some of the weight loss and sports supplements, they've identified that there's been some steroids that have snuck in there, which is really, really scary. And then if you're taking specific medications, you need to be really careful about what supplements you are using. And as we mentioned, that natural medicines page, that's a really good resource to look at, because you can kind of look and see if any of your medications might interact with the supplement you're taking. But in general, if you're taking any blood thinners, you really need to be careful, because some supplements can also thin the blood. So if you think about that, you're ending up with thinner blood than what your doctor's recommending, and that can be really dangerous. Anti-seizure medications, anti-rejection medications, and HIV treatment, all of these can be made less effective by certain supplements. One of the big ones is St. John's wort. So with this, just being cautious. If you're unsure, talk to your doctor, talk to your pharmacist. I think that's the big takeaway from here. All right, now we're going to switch gears. We're going to move into kind of supplement marketing. This is a big topic of concern right now. I think everybody has opened up, a social media page, their email, everything, and they've gotten marketed as supplement. So let's talk a little bit about who these are being marketed to. The sport and nutrition industry is a huge, huge market for these supplements, especially weight loss and sports enhancement. really people who are trying to like build their health, enhance their health, stuff like that. People who are into alternative medicine or natural health, people who are looking for a supplement maybe to replace a drug or something like that. These can be really targeted by supplement companies. Older adults, as we get older, we really want to optimize our health. So the older population is more motivated to go out and buy supplements that claim to optimize their health. And also it's a big population. We have the baby boomer population that is just going to keep progressively getting older, and they're going to keep being a major market for these supplement companies. Vegetarian or vegans and people into self-care. Vegetarian or vegans need to take a B12 supplement. So they're going to be targeted by these companies. And then preventative self-care, that includes like immune health, memory health, like preventing these diseases from setting in the future. So a little bit about where these supplements are being sold. You know it, you've seen them everywhere. Grocery stores, pharmacies, supplement shops. Recently, I've seen a lot in the beauty stores, which I was kind of surprised about. And then the big one, online. And as Marissa said, it is not just local online companies anymore. It is coming from everywhere. It is a global industry. So how are these supplements being marketed to you? Big thing, catchy labels and packaging. There was a survey done that 70% of respondents said they would strongly purchase a supplement based on their marketing and their packaging. So bright colors, catchy packaging, fun advertisements. You see this one has confetti and stuff like that. A lot of places are advertising supplements online. We see this through website ads, email marketing, paid marketing, affiliate marketing. So like an influencer saying, oh, I'm taking this supplement, it's great. And then paid promotions, same thing. And then again, on social media, we're seeing this become a major area that supplement companies are marketing. And the marketers know this. 73% of companies are on Instagram, 89% are on Facebook. They know this is the best way to get you to buy their product, and they're going to be there like making you buy the product. And then offline marketing, not really as much of a thing anymore, but you still see it. TV, newspapers, brick and mortar stores with, you know, the signs. They're big, colorful, catchy to get you to buy their product. And then direct to selling models. So this is kind of a little bit of an activity, but I did a little bit of research on social media specifically to try to find some examples of this. This is my left, but it might be your right. To your left, we have a TikTok. This is the reason I am focusing on TikTok, this is a big thing that the younger population is looking at. This is where they're getting most of their information, would be Instagram, TikTok. This is where they're getting information about what supplements they should be eating. So we see a greens powder, and the reason I liked this one is she shows this greens powder, she kind of poses with it, and she says, I feel more rested, I have no bloating, I have no gas, this huge list of benefits that she's getting from this supplement. And then you look at how much she's actually eating. She's eating only like a teaspoon of the supplement. So in reality, you know, is this really going to be the like miracle thing that she's saying it is, or is it, you know, is it more of a placebo effect? We don't really know. So just keeping in mind when you're looking at these ads, maybe it's not the best thing. On my right here, we have a company that is called Care Of, and they have quizzes online that will personalize your supplements based on kind of arbitrary measures, like I feel tired or I feel stressed, and they'll recommend personalized supplement packages to you. They don't really ask you, are you taking any medications? Might you have any interactions? Stuff that they should actually be asking you. So kind of keeping that in mind when you're using these services, just making sure you're kind of looking up the supplement, maybe making sure that it's okay for you to be taking it, stuff like that. And then a couple more examples here. This was me just typing supplements into social media, and these are like the first things that came up. Again, a TikTok, 5 supplements to help you lose 30 pounds in 90 days. As a nutrition student, I look at that and I say, that's a lot of weight in 90 days. And I don't really know what he's going to recommend you take that, but I'm going to say probably not the healthiest thing for you to be doing. In the middle, we have, again, trendy marketing, colorful, cute, heart-shaped gummies. It's a superfood fruits gummy, whatever that means. And then on the right, it was the first thing I typed in Facebook. I said supplements, and the first thing that came up was a Hum Nutrition marketing page. So again, just kind of showing you examples. This stuff is everywhere, and you see it. Your kids see it. Everybody is seeing it. Just looking at this with skepticism is a good thing. So kind of key takeaways from my section. Always, always, always check with your doctor if you have any of these conditions. Pregnant, if they are children, you have liver disease, or if you're taking specific medications. And if you're just unsure, always check with your doctor, always check with your pharmacist. Second takeaway, supplement brands know how to get you to buy their product. So be an informed consumer and be aware that they're trying to get you to buy that product, and kind of look at these products with skepticism. And then third, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If a supplement is claiming that it's going to change your life, you're going to lose 30 pounds in 90 days, like probably too good to be true. So just be an informed consumer, be skeptical, and do your research. All right, and we have a chat. Couldn't a teaspoon be a legit dose? It could be a legit dose, but the thing that you should consider is this doing that much benefit? So with greens powders, when we look at them, they kind of get marketed to you as like an alternative to doing the greens. Whereas food is probably a better option. If you're worried about your greens intake, try to eat more greens. You're going to get more benefit from eating the actual whole food itself than you would from a teaspoon of green powder. So, all right. And if are there any more questions about this section? Get me all over the place. Collagen. You want to take that? Yeah, we can answer some of those at the end. Yeah. Yeah, we'll hold that one till the end. All right, we're going to go on to our next section.
Hello, everybody. My name is Molly Barkman, and we're going to take us home here with the rest of the presentation. So basically, you just heard all of the things to watch out for, all the negatives, some information about supplements, but now, how do I actually do this? How do I purchase a supplement? Where do I go from here? What are you guys going to do to effectively buy supplements? So first off, where do you start? So you know what you want to buy, figure out what that is, and then you go, which supplement do I buy? You walk into the grocery store, Target, and you look at the aisle, you see all of the supplements, which supplement do I buy? And how do I make sure the supplement I want to buy is reputable? So generally the My Plate is kind of what Catherine was just saying. First off, we want to start with whole foods and then work our way up, as you can see on the left side, to supplements as our second or alternative option. So first off, you want to research before you buy. So websites that are used by pharmacists and doctors are, which I'm going to show you in the next few slides, are reputable to look up articles that you can use to check out the supplements. And then don't just trust your local GNC worker or your cousin who says that vitamin D all the time is great for you. Make sure you actually do your research. Knowledge is power. So the more you know, the more you'll be able to make a great decision and great choice. So as Marissa was talking about earlier, this is Natural Medicine's database. So as OU employees and students, we all should have access to this for free, but it does cost about 50 to 80, don't quote me on that, an hour or for purchasing this website. Another source is National Center of Complementary and Integrative Health. So this is another website that you can use to search for supplements, look up articles, and just kind of get, again, more knowledge on what you're buying. The next one is Ovid and Pubmed. This is also another place you can go to find supplement research and just look up articles and see what is out there about the supplement that you're looking to buy. And lastly is Examine. It is also another good source to look up for supplements and kind of just consider what's out there. Not a lot of people know about Examine, so I feel like it's a very good beginning step to look up supplements. For example, if you wanted to look up about melatonin, just a little example, this will be the website that pops up. See if you guys can see that. And it'll give you kind of an overview right here of what you can see. It'll give you melatonin is hormones created by the brain, kind of give you general information, a summary about melatonin. It'll say melatonin for sleep, irregular sleep patterns are associated with a wide variety of health problems, kind of just more overview. And then the side effects of melatonin, it'll give that for you. But then what I think is really cool about Examine is it'll tell you how to take it. So you'll see all of that right there. And then further down, it'll kind of show you for each thing you research, level of evidence. So it'll show you kind of big highlights of certain things that will help you further know more about your supplements, which I think is really interesting. Kind of just scrolling down, you can see all of the different things that it looks at and looks at research and gives you kind of a synopsis on the right side, which I think is really cool. And we'll go back to the slide. All right. Okay, so now we'll talk about third-party testing. So third-party testing is a way to tell if your supplement, I'll go back, messing with me here. Okay, third-party testing is a way to tell if your supplement is reputable. So basically, an independent organization has reviewed the product and inspected the final product for safety, quality, performance. So it must meet quality and science standards. So basically how a supplement is named third-party tested is it contains a few things. It has to contain the ingredients that's listed on the label that's declared for the potency and amount. So basically your supplement, if it contains this amount of vitamin D, it has to have that on the label and in the supplement. It does not contain harmful levels of a specified contaminant. So what Marissa was talking about earlier about the upper level of intake, you want to make sure that their supplements do not have certain harmful chemicals and metals and pesticides, as well as it's good for you. Third, it has to be made with good manufacturing practices. So they can't mix it with other things. They have to make sure it's sanitary and safe before going and hitting the market. And lastly, you have to make sure that it is going to break down and absorb into your body within a specific amount of time. So your body is utilizing it in a correct way. So these are some good third-party testing options you can use. So when you look at your supplements, you'll see the USP or the NSF, and you can tell whether or not that these companies have third-party tested your supplements. So TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration of Australia, NSF, USP, all good options to check to see if your supplement is third-party tested. So a quick little snippet about sports. So sports is actually a little bit different because if it's certified for sport and third-party tested are a little bit different. So it doesn't have, if it's third-party tested, doesn't necessarily mean that it's certified for sport, because sport has a little bit different regulations than the average human being. So Informed Sport is a good one, NSF, and then Banned Substance Control Group. They're all great sources to look at to see if it's certified for sport. So now we're going to go into a little bit of a label reading activity, but first I'll look at the questions. For third party, should I use GMP certification? Look, earlier it showed up on the next slide. Yeah. You want to take that one?
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, so GMP, you're talking about the good manufacturing practices, right? I've seen that label pop up, but yes, that is a good certification that they're saying that we've upheld what the current good manufacturing practices are, and that is a good thing to look for on your label. I hope I answered that.
Safety.
Okay, yeah, she's good.
Yeah, okay. Amazing. And then collagen supplement. Yeah, does collagen products work? Also, protein shakes, are they really good for a meal replacement? In my experience, from what I've seen out there for the research of collagen, it's tested, but it's not as researched as other supplements such as creatine. So I would just be careful with certain collagen supplements, because also for it to be well absorbed, it has to have vitamin C with it. So just kind of, if you are going to take a collagen supplement, I would just make sure that it has some sort of vitamin C in it, and also checking those databases and really doing your research before you go out and you buy the supplement. And then for protein shakes or protein powder for a meal replacement, personally, from what I've learned so far in the program, we really would like you to add that to your meal or have that with something as a whole food, as opposed to just having that in one as a meal replacement. Just so, like Catherine and Marissa both said earlier, you're getting more of that whole food as opposed to just having the protein and additional things in that shake, if that helps with that, answer that question. Yes, I think so. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit of a label reading activity. So basically on the slide, you'll see two supplements, one on the left and then the one on the right. We're going to take about a minute or so just so guys look at the supplements, and then we'll continue on to the back side. All right, let's look at the back side of the supplements now. All right. So what are your thoughts on which supplement you as a consumer would buy? You can either drop it in the chat or unmute for a second and just tell me what you think. Going back to this slide. Let's see, we got some chat. Yep, the 10 strain. Can anybody tell me why the 10 strain? Yep, USP. Bingo. Yep. Yep. Great. Yeah, good job. Yeah, so we'll dissect this a little bit, but correct. Definitely the left, I would go with that one. So again, like you can see on the top right corner, USP, big, bold, you know that that's third party tested. What is in the supplement is actually what you're getting. And then you can see small print in the bottom. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food Drug Administration. The product is ready. These statements. So it's USP as opposed to just the Food Drug Administration. So it's legit. And then you can see on this, it's pretty kind of what Catherine was talking about earlier, the marketing of the whole thing. For a balanced belly, live cultures and friendly fiber. It's pink, it's bubbly. You can see like somebody said, the cane sugar, gelatin, all of those things in there is the first ingredient. So it's going to contain the most. of what this product is offering. So you can look on, this is the 10 strand. You can see all of these good bacteria, which is really good for a probiotic supplement, to make sure it has a lot of strands of gut bacteria in it. So that's good. And sugar is kind of up there, not up there. So that's good. And then again, with USP has tested and verified the ingredients and potency in a manufacturing process. You can see that it's what is in the product again is what you're going to get. And then this is the backside of the Ollie. So you can see it just says prebiotic blend. So for that, it's a little bit wishy-washy because you don't actually know. With the other one, you can see all of the bacteria strands, but for this one, it just says prebiotic blend. So you don't know exactly what you're gonna get in that supplement. And they could just be saying prebiotic blend and they could put a whole different things in there, so. Yeah. Probiotic, yeah. So basically check your checklist. Have you done your research? Have you looked for a third-party testing symbol? And if you're still struggling, check with the pharmacist and buy from large companies, not just online only. And just to summarize, the overall goal is to convey true effectiveness of dietary supplements and manage expectations. So supplements may provide health benefits that they claim they do, but they also may not. So. Question. How important is a probiotic? Can you get what it offers through any means of food, diet, etc.? Want to take it?
Sure. So probiotics, yes, they're pretty important, and yes, you can get it from your diet. Think cultured foods. You can eat your yogurts. Eating your fiber, you'll get some probiotic benefits. But yeah, those are some dietary sources that you can definitely pull from. And if you're worried about it, you can use a supplement, but be sure to check your supplement labels.
Okay, and then if you haven't already, go ahead and click on this QR code for us and take that post quiz. We just want to kind of see how effective our presentation was and see what you guys learned. But are there any other questions? Feel free to throw them out there. Hope we're answering them. Okay, I think that's all so far. Yeah, okay. A prebiotic. So a prebiotic is a little bit different than a probiotic, but essentially, well, do you want to take this one again? You can take it.
So a prebiotic is essentially fiber. Basically, it helps. Oh,
Prebiotic.
yeah, it's
So-
fiber.
Okay, so a prebiotic is essentially fiber, but fiber comes from plant and vegetable sources most of the time. But so what a prebiotic is it once you eat it, it goes into your, it doesn't get absorbed in your stomach and your small intestine, but then it goes all the way through to your colon. Oh, good. Nice job. It goes all the way through to your colon, and in your colon is a bunch of bacteria. So when you hear about bacteria in your gut, it's a good thing to have it there. And so what that bacteria does is it breaks down that prebiotic fiber that the rest of your body can't break down. And in that process, it makes some byproducts that are really good for your body, and then also gets rid of some things that you wouldn't be able to get rid of on your own, essentially. So a prebiotic is really good for a lot of reasons. It can have benefits for cholesterol even, and getting rid of some of that if you have high cholesterol levels. Prebiotics and probiotics are a super interesting area of nutrition research, but I hope that that gives a basic explanation of it. But essentially when people supplement it, that might be after you take an antibiotic and maybe it cleared out a little bit of your gut bacteria. And so maybe they're trying to replenish that. But again, that would be recommended by your doctor if you ever needed to do that. That's a great question though. We were just trying to figure out how to best
answer that one, yeah.
explain. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. Awesome. We hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something, because at least personally for me, when we first learned about dietary supplements, I was blown away, because you want to think that if something's on a grocery store shelf, it's safe to buy and there wouldn't be a reason that you need to be careful, or I don't know, but there's a lot to learn. So we just felt that this was something cool to talk about. So any other questions?
Yes, thank you ladies very much. Excellent information. I think nothing to like necessarily scare us away from dietary supplements, but just being aware that you know, all of those things, always good idea to double check with your healthcare provider, pharmacist, registered dietitian, all of those that have that knowledge, that there's so much stuff out there that you just never know. We get bombarded, like you said, from so many different avenues. And yes, we like to just believe that everyone's looking out for our best interests, but absolutely always a great idea to double check with your healthcare providers. And absolutely, like you all mentioned, especially if you're already taking other medications on a regular basis for other health issues. Sometimes, like whenever you're filling out that information for your provider, are you taking other supplements or taking other things even over the counter? It's really important to list those things just in case if there's any negative interactions that can happen with those. And I think some other things came up real quick to let you guys address. I think Marcy has a question.
Yeah, I did see that. So when I read homemade probiotics, I was originally thinking like, what's the like kombucha and that sort of thing. But SCOBY, I'm not sure what that is necessarily.
It's a SCOBY. It means
kombucha, yeah.
symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it is, we're thinking of the same thing.
Yeah, we're thinking
My
the same
mom
thing.
actually makes this stuff. She swears by it. But essentially, so one thing that they're finding is like people that are supplementing with probiotics are often not people that necessarily need them. So if you are getting a well-balanced diet with a lot of plants, fruits and vegetables, and a wide variety of them, you likely have adequate gut bacteria and you don't necessarily need to supplement. That being said, it's all about how you feel. So if you feel well regulated and you feel good taking it or making your own, then absolutely yes. And as dietitians, we definitely preach homemade is usually better than store-bought. And even if you look into kombucha brands, there's often crazy stuff added into there. Sometimes that's kind of not great. But yeah, did you want to add something?
No, that's good.
Oh, okay, cool. But so I hope that answers your question a little bit. I'd say thumbs up.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other last questions?
Excellent. Well, thank you, ladies. Like I said, we'll send a follow-up email to attendees with the slides and any other resources the ladies would like to share. I know they mentioned some reputable websites that might be good to use, and as well as the link for the recording. And thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.